Regions are places of spectacular extremes, with winters of perpetual darkness and summers of constant sunlight. These are the coldest, harshest places on Earth, but still life finds extraordinary ways to survive here and thrive. The Arctic stretches across the top of the world, a great frozen ocean surrounded by land. The Antarctic is just the opposite, a vast frozen continent surrounded by water. Being at the ends of the Earth, the poles receive only small amounts of solar energy. The summers are short, the winters very long. In the Arctic, when winter sets in, the bitterly cold temperatures freeze the ocean surface. Wind and ocean currents keep this pack ice on the move throughout the year. The darkness of the Arctic winter is only relieved by a very special event. The northern lights, the Aurora Borealis. This awesome display of light and color is caused by charged particles streaming from the sun into the Earth's atmosphere and magnetic field. The frozen Arctic Ocean may look desolate, but below the thin crust of ice, life survives. The ice is a perfect platform for seals to haul themselves out to rest. It's also the hunting ground for the polar bear, the world's largest land carnivore. This animal is exquisitely adapted to a life on the sea ice, hunting seals. It remains here throughout the winter, a solitary hunter roaming great distances in search of food. It relies on its excellent sense of smell to find prey, even hunting during the 3 winter months when the sun disappears. When the Arctic is locked in its winter freeze, the southern Antarctic summer is in full swing. Here, the constant sunlight powers an entire ecosystem, from single-celled plankton to gigantic whales. This is also the time for most penguins and other seabirds to breed in huge colonies. This abundance of life is restricted to Antarctica's coast. Further inland, the continent is covered by enormous sheets of ice. Even in summer, the temperatures inland can be extremely bitter. In some places inland, it is so dry, snow rarely falls. The land is a barren, frozen desert, the driest place on Earth. When the Antarctic summer comes to an end, the Adelie and king penguin colonies disperse. Their chicks are fledged. They'll spend the coming winter at sea. It's time for the humpback whales and seabirds to return to warmer northern waters. It's time for the southern lights, the Aurora Australis, to make their appearance and dance across the barren continent. In Antarctica, the onset of winter can be sudden and furious. But winter is the time for emperor penguins to come ashore and lay eggs, which will hatch hatch just as sunlight returns. Here, huddled together for warmth in enormous numbers, these largest of all penguins brave the coldest temperatures of Earth to raise their single chick. If the chick survives the winter, it will have an ocean full of food next summer, when it is fully fledged. Winter in Antarctica means it's now summer in the Arctic. The brief thaw allows the margins of land surrounding the Arctic Ocean to burst into life. This is a time of feverish activity, a short growing season that transforms the landscape with wild flowers. Insects breed in their billions. Vast numbers of wading birds migrate here to breed, and seals and walruses come ashore in great colonies. The sea ice melts around the coast, so polar bears must come ashore too. Most won't feed again until next winter, when the ice forms again, but some will try. Despite the challenges, the polar regions are also home to people. The Arctic has long been home to a special people, the Inuit. Today, most live in settled modern communities, but for thousands of years, their ancestors lived here as nomadic hunters, finding ingenious ways to survive. Their intimate knowledge of the land kept them alive against all odds. The Antarctic, on the other hand, has only been inhabited for the past century, and only by scientists and explorers from around the world. International treaties have so far kept this wild continent free from exploitation. Now increasing numbers of tourists are discovering the wonders of this amazing place. The polar regions are more than natural wonders. They can also tell us about the past and reveal insights into the complex systems that influence the Earth's climate. By drilling and extracting ice cores from deep within the polar ice sheets, scientists can examine air bubbles trapped in the ice and discover the temperature and composition of the Earth's atmosphere as far back as 800,000 years ago. The polar ice tells us how the global climate has warmed and cooled, how greenhouse gases have fluctuated over time. They tell us that the levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere today are higher than at any time since the ice formed, and are accelerating fast. This could cause enormous changes to the world climate, with profound impact on the polar regions. The ice pack that covers the Arctic Ocean could melt, as could parts of the Antarctic ice sheet. If just the smaller West Antarctic ice sheet melts, sea levels could rise up to 6 meters. In the unlikely event that all the Antarctic ice melts, ocean levels could rise by over 73 meters. Melting ice could also play havoc with ocean currents. The Gulf Stream, which keeps Scotland and Northern Europe warm, could be pushed south, leading to colder temperatures in Scotland rather than warmer ones. There is still much to discover about the extraordinary worlds we call the polar regions, and still much that they can tell us about our planet.